Everyone. It is Friday, December 13th, 2024. No pick from the video yesterday. I just kind of walked through some trades that I took. A couple things in my game plan here. Let's take a look at the market. Now, my OSP or traders are rather giving us some data issues, and we're unable to see the intraday data. So I'm using my backup, which is TradingView, and you can get a free trading view here. I managed to get the Black Friday deal, and I'll probably cancel my subscription after that Black Friday deal. But I, had a little bit of money to spare, so figured this could come in handy. And here where we are. So D1 basis on a longer term time frame here. We know that our general trend is up. We know that dips have been our best buying opportunity. Technically, nothing has changed too much. The main thing we're watching for here is things on CPI, if the economy is doing well, things like that. So far, there hasn't been any sort of major news or things to keep an eye on. CPI has been taking a little bit higher for the past 3 months, but I'm not too overly concerned about that. I view that as a small bump in a longer term trend. And I will pull that up over here. Right. We can take a quick look at that. So here is our CPI. Let's zoom in here a little bit. So you can see, right, steadily down, new low in September, and we've just ticked up a little bit higher, 2.4, 2.7. And you can move this around if you want to do, kind of take out a couple of items, all items if you want to take out food and electricity, which has been a little bit more sticky but still coming down. And yeah, you can slice and dice this however you want. I just have a link over here. Here's the energy price. We got a couple of spikes here. There's the Russia war and the CPI max out over there. But anyways, main point here is that those are some of the trends. Now, looking at SPY over here, shorter term, before we get to the intraday on the other screen, after this new gap up to an all-time high, here's where I took a lot of gains on my positions on this day, on this gap up, and you can see the market has been pretty much compressing on that level. Now, a couple of things that we want to keep an eye out for over here, and I'm actually going to, it's a little bit gross over here in terms of all the things I marked up in the charts, but a couple of things. First is this November 6th AVWAP and this all-time high AVWAP coming into play. I believe that could be a support level. We also have 600 as a major support level, which is coming up over here. So I believe these two levels could act as support if we get a break below the compression. So right now, I don't exactly know where the market's going to go. We're just chopping around sideways. You can see there's these 10 little lines intraday. And generally speaking, I believe we're in this compression range from the all-time high to about 602. And we're just chopping around there. We got this breakout, and we kind of came back and filled in the gap and tested that support level over here. We have some support at the 8 EMA. I'm sure if I put up the 15 EMA, that's probably coming up over here. So let me just... I don't really use it, but I am curious. Okay, so we haven't quite hit it yet. We're getting a little bit close. So what do we do? Well, shorter term basis, right? I haven't recommended any swing trades since the 25th. That was my last swing trade recommendation. Since then, it's just been day trading the remaining chunk of this move. We took a lot of gains in our swings. Been scaling out on some of our swings. The one swing I did take profits on today was Twillo. I took profits at around 113. And I took profits right around here where, we got that gap up. We kind of erased some of the gains over here on Twillo. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to take some profits on this guy as it started to get fill over here. I wanted to push a little bit higher up to 117, but I kind of just wanted to take some chips off the table. I noticed the trend is slowing down. So it could still get there, but we've got some pretty nice gains on this guy. It's a $10 move or more than a $10 move really in that stock. So nice 10, 12, 15% gain somewhere around those lines. So nice win on Twilio. That's the one that we scaled out on. If we look at our other positions today, GoDaddy is holding the compression pretty nicely, nice and tight, so we can get a nice little breakout over here to the upside. We're also in Team. Team is holding up pretty well on this kind of day. Market is selling off. Team is compressing, so I like that. Here's that AV WAP from over here. It looks like there is yeah, there's the earnings AV WAP from there. We are in Reddit, which is holding up pretty well. You can see it's actually up for the day, all things considered, which is very, very nice. And we took out a UPST yesterday. This stock actually broke through, which was not expected, but there was some positive news. So you can look at this and say, oh, man, I should have held it. I didn't know. You could have, but look, we didn't have the market probabilities in our favor. Market was giving us a tailwind. Stock was kind of pattering out. So you scratch the trade, and if it does break through, which is a lower probability event, but it happened today, broke through and it can hold those gains, okay, we might get, maybe you can take a small position if you're still bullish on the market. So thought I'd call that out. Don't fret on that if you miss that move. It happens, and it really depends on your horizon, right? We took it over here. It was looking nice, but stock didn't really do what we wanted it to do. This sold off a little bit too hard, so we had a good price, we had a good entry, and we were able to scratch it when we could. All right. So I'm seeing what else we have. Last one we have is Netflix that is open. Now, Netflix is slowing down a little bit here. You can see that we got a little break the 80 EMA. We're kind of testing this low. So I'd want to see this kind of preserve this higher low and see us get back up over here. But right now, you see this, we got this nice candle here. Breakout, retest, breakout, retest. So we may have to do some gains, some consolidation of this level at around 908. That's acting as support, so it's got to consolidate around there. Otherwise, otherwise we're going to start to move to the downside. So not as crazy about Netflix right now, but again, it's holding the gains on a day that the market is fairly down, right? A lot of stocks are down, so all of our picks are holding up pretty well, and that's kind of what we wanted to see on a market down day. Now, they're not going to be shooting up, but when the market starts to find support, that's when we could expect the bounce, right? Especially in a stock like GoDaddy where it's not moving a whole lot. So if the market starts to find support, that's when we start to get that breakout in that stock. So what we really need is the best, strongest stocks. They'll hold the gains when the market's going down. And as soon as the market stops going down, that's when they start to move up higher. So there we are, and we have a great entry point on GoDaddy at 187. So pretty much as long as this guy, what's it called? As long as this guy pulls the line, I don't expect we will be taking any losses. We are just in profit management mode. Okay, so those are the open positions. Let's take a look at what the heck's happening today in the market. So you can see here I got this crazy little multi-screen. I got SPY over here. I got VIX on the top. I have text QQQ. Keep an eye on NVIDIA. I didn't know what to put here, but keep an eye on NVIDIA. You could even put MAGs over here. A little bit choppy, or you could put like SOX if you wanted to, or SMH. And you could take a look at maybe how semis are doing. So gonna maybe I'll put up MAGs over here, which will represent the aggregate of all that stuff here. You can kind of quickly check the mega cap tech stocks, see how they're holding up. Tesla's looking pretty bullish, and Google's had a pretty nice breakout coming back in to that low. So I'm gonna keep MAGs over here. So here's MAGs, and on the right we have RSP and we have IWM. So I can kind of quickly see what's looking strong, what's not looking strong. What I like here is that, well, a couple things. So first, QQQ is stronger relative to SPY. We got this drop down, but after the drop, it's been forming some higher lows and been inching up a little bit higher. So QQQ is looking relatively strong. We had a gap up to an all-time high, and we filled in that gap mostly to the downside. So a little bit relatively strong. VIX obviously going up, which confirms the down signal here. Mags was strong, and then it had a big kind of show of weakness here initially, and now it's kind of compressing, holding those gains. IWM has been relatively weak. Stock made index made a new low of the day. It's bouncing up a little bit here, so it's losing some of that relative strength. And RSP is quite interesting because we got some weakness earlier, then we got a nice show of support on this strength, and then we got this next leg lower. I'm going to take a look at all these D1s. And you can see just the difference in relative strength over here. So Mags has really been carrying this last leg of the rally, which is quite interesting. And then IWM and RSP has actually they've really been declining for ever since the 25th. So they've really been coming down here. And then VIX is that I mean the D1 is important, yeah, but it's like not really rallying. It's sort of basing over here. So that's what we're seeing in VIX. Yeah, so this is pretty much what we're seeing here in the market. We're seeing just a lot of tech strength that is buoying the market relative to some of the rotation out of small cap and some of the other sectors over here. And we can do a quick check. You can take a look at like maybe XLF. You can take a look at healthcare. You can take a look at comms. So comms is doing pretty well. Or staples should be not a whole lot there. Utilities not really doing a whole lot. So main one I check is finance. So finance has also been pretty weak. Usually, when we get a nice tailwind there, we get a nice little market rally. So that's where the nice equal weight parts comes in. So if you strip out the tech weightage over here, it's pretty bearish. If you include the tech weightage, if you're overweight on tech, it's pretty bullish. So if you average kind of these two moves over here, we're getting this compression. So that tells us that there's some weakness in tech, and then there's some strength in tech, and there's some weakness in non-tech. So what the heck do we do today? Well, right now we got this gap reversal here. I took an overnight short on SPY actually over here. We tested the high of the day, and I took profits right around here at 603.50. Just missed my gap fill. I was targeting 603. I didn't quite get it on the initial move, so took the profits on this long candle here. And then the market staged a little bounce here. So we got a little nice bounce. This came nice tall green candles. Volume was decent. And we'll look at some of the volume bars here. There's not really any good way for me to have I'm still working on to get a 1.0 vol on SPY. And by the way, if you're ever curious on making some of these indicators, I've been using ChatGPT to help me code some Pine script indicators. So that's how I'm able to get stuff like maybe if I go on like Lyft or something, right, where I have this these auto lines coming into play. I had ChatGPT help me code this out over here, and create something that could be useful. So that's it over there. But for the time being, we'll have to just use the volume bars themselves. So here's that first move here lower. We got this nice tall green candle on good volume. And then we got a little bit of pop here. We got the smackdown, and then we got this bearish hammer. So this is a nice little shorting opportunity here. And I think the two entries SPY-wise, the first little entry and poke into the gap right here at 10 o'clock. That's your first shorting opportunity. Best risk reward on the day. We get a nice leg lower. You kind of watch the bounce here. You can take some partial gains, watch the bounce, reload. And then when I see this sort of move over here, we're starting to poke through, right? I'm expecting that. I would expect here to kind of break through this with a little bit more gusto. But so far, it's a weak trickle down. You can see these mixed overlapping candles. Volume isn't super high. Get some tiny body candles here, marginal new low, and then we're starting to rally over here and stage a bounce. So to me, it's telling me a couple things. So first, right, I'm not crazy about getting short right now because of a couple reasons. One, we have our gap fill. So we have our gap fill over here, and we have support at 602. So we're approaching this kind of support zone from 603 to 602-ish, maybe this, or maybe 602.90 to 602.14. So call it about this little zone of about 85 cents. Okay, so I'm like, look, if the market stays in this compression, we may see a higher low double bottom, which is why I'm being more prudent here, and I don't want to short into this higher low double bottom because this could be some support that buyers find themselves in. Now, I'm not calling the bottom here because we still have to get through this longer term trend line. If I were to maybe draw it like that, right? We have this longer term trend line we have to get through. And if I were to draw maybe an AVWAP from this all-time high here, right? That's something that we'd have to probably get through to get that little flip. But the first level is to break and clear VWAP for me to get long. We have to actually clear this high over here. We have to make a nice taller bounce on a high and then come back in. When we get the nice tall bounce, that tells us that buyers are confirming that. And that's kind of what we got over here, right? So we got a tall bounce over here, but it didn't quite make it back to the all-time high. It fell just short, which is why this was actually better in terms of, one, taking gains on some short-term swings on the long side, and two, when it starts to stall, you can actually fade it over here, and you could even target the bottom of that compression. So, yeah, my bias here right now is I am I'm neutral today. I'm a little bit actually mildly bullish, which is odd considering this price action, but I'm just not seeing the aggressive selling right here. Now, here's one thing that's important. If we fail to get above this level and above VWAP and we kind of stay below it, we have a chance for a late day sell-off. So it really depends on what this bounce does over here, right? It's got to get through this level with some gusto, and then we can feel good about a potential bullish reversal day. And those are a couple of patterns that I outlined. So I'm going to show what I wrote up before I started recording this video here. Here's my couple scenarios. So here's kind of our backdrop, right? Market's getting overextended. Well, I'll put this as the market. The market is compressing between 609 and 602. We also know, by the way, that the ATR of SPY has come down quite a bit. If I just put in the average true range up over here. That's one way to check that you're in a compression. Right? You can see here's the ATR. About 6, right? When we got a lot of volatility, a lot of peaks, still a lot of volatility, still looking good, $6. And now, since we got that move over here, it's been steadily declining from 6 all the way down to 4. So small ATR, right? We got a lot of tiny volume days. We don't move a whole lot, small ranges. Yeah, that's when, we're not getting a lot of activity. And it tells us to be cautious. Anyways, a little side note. But so here are the scenarios outlined, right? We talked about everything I talked about earlier. Here's the overnight. Here's what happened yesterday. Here's what happened in the first hour, right? Couple scenarios. So first one is that bearish trend day that fills in the gap and it continues to the low of the day and it breaks that low, right? That 5-day low. That's what we talked about here. Now that still could happen, but I don't feel very, I don't know, I just not really particularly confident in that scenario, which is why I gave it a 20% chance. The most common scenario, I think, was a bear trend to LPTE day, where we start out nice and strong, and then this just kind of turns into mush. We have this meat grinder kind of price action, right? We fell hard, didn't really accomplish a whole lot, and we hold 602, right? We don't actually break 602. Maybe we even form higher. The third option is a bullish reversal day, where we form that test early, we grind at the selling pressure, and then we start to make some higher we start to actually get above this level, and on a actual bullish reversal day, we're actually able to break this high of the day later in the PM. Doesn't really happen unless we get to some sort of all-time low, right? So here's something like this is a bullish reversal day. Here's another bullish reversal day, right? These are usually more significant D1 pivots. Here's one on this day over here. Gap down, bullish trend day. This is after we tested the bottom of this compression a couple of times. So right now, I believe the market is in some sort of pattern like this. We could see something like that. Whoops. Or we could see something where we compress and we break to the downside. It's really uncertain, and it's going to depend on the context over here. So, yeah, this is just sort of a wait and see kind of scenario. But anyways, I've rambled enough about that here. So this bullish reversal day, I gave it a 30% chance. If it does happen, then we can have some nice relative strength long. So what are the clues here? I'd pick a couple of nice stocks that are holding up pretty well. So here is the same SPY chart here. A couple of nice stocks that I liked. AVGO has made a really nice move and held the gains, formed a higher low, grinding up above VWAP. Massive volume on this guy. So that is a nice chart. UPST is a nice one that's trending a little bit better. Soundhound is trending higher as well. Now, a bit of a triple top, so it may be cycling down, but Sound was very, very nice earlier in the day. Marvel rose up in terms of sympathy with AVGO. So pull back over here, held the gains, didn't form a higher low, and now it's starting to grind up and get through VWAP over here. So not a bad little point. Now, those are some of the things on the long side. If we look at some stuff on the short side, I like MDB. This stock is super weak. You can see breakdown, no bounce, breakdown, right? Market's bouncing, stock is compressing the low of the day. So if we start to form that lower high, then I would go with MDB. So also load this on the D1 chart over here. You can see that it's getting through that 100-day SMA right over here at 276. So here was that. We broke through here. It may come back up for a retest potentially, but we got a ton of volume coming through this level. And we have a nice break of this low plus trend line. If I were to draw this like that. Well, we actually have this bigger channel here, but more importantly, we have a couple of trend lines that are coming into play here. And you can draw a couple of different trend lines here, but the main thing is that when you have a pretty clear break of all of them, right? And you can draw these in a couple of different ways. Like this is already broken. You can draw it like here. So yeah, we have a pretty clear break of all of these low minus trend lines. So this is a pretty nice, pretty decent shorting opportunity, I would say. And you just watch out for any sort of potential support that could come in the way. We're also in the gap as well. We have some nice room to this gap fill support, which is right over here. And I'm not going to make that as thick. Right, so we got that gap fill support over here. That's looking pretty nice. And then if you want to check this on our RVol kind of search on our scanner here. So this is coming into play a little bit. We have a couple of little levels here. And it looks like this is coming all the way back from a couple of candles over here that acted as support. And you can see when we get in these congestion zones, right, that the stock can chop around a little bit. So I think it's a pretty decent short. VKTX is another pretty nice short. Now, it's got to get through this low. So far, it hasn't done that. But if it can get through its low of the day over here, that might be a pretty nice shorting opportunity. It is a biotech stock, so you want to be kind of careful. It is pretty newsy, so keep an eye out for what's happening. But technically, you have a nice setup over here where we're just kind of gradually grinding higher and lower. And I think I could probably draw a channel like that. Yeah, so we're in this kind of wide bearish channel here. You can see, and it's just kind of, there's a whole bunch of TA and crap that is chopping around here. But, yeah, so VKTX is pretty nice. Adobe was looking pretty good. You can see that the stock is approaching that gap fill over here. Now, it has a ton of volume and momentum, so it could clear that. And it looks like so far it's holding through it. Um, but that's another nice one. Uber is looking decent. Again, I'd like to see it get through this gap, and then we have some nice amount of room over here. There's some minor levels that I'm not too worried about on Uber. So yeah, I think for today, I'm gonna give two shorts. The first one I think is going to be MDB as a day trade short, and again, this is on the condition that this market bounce starts to stall and doesn't really get a whole lot going from over here. And when we start to roll over, I would take an MDB as a short. My second pick, I think, let me see here. Let me check Marvel. Now, the thing with Marvel that we have to check before I go to, yeah, okay, so we're at this, yeah, there's that high here. So, I'm not crazy about it. I was crazy about that because I wanted to clear that high. I like AVG a little bit better because it's a little bit of a steadier grinder. And let's see if I can find some other relatively strong stocks. Okay, so we got a couple stuff here. Tesla is looking strong. Yep, found some support, grinding up higher. So a little bit late in the move, but if you could buy a dip at VWAP, right, there's a nice amount of money to be made there. Let's see what else we have. Okay, Reddit itself is looking nice. We want to see a stock that's kind of been compressing during most of these gains, and then it's starting to grind up and rally over here. So that would be kind of the ideal long here. Whoops, not RELF. Let's look at ELF. Okay, so ELF is pretty nice. You can see how gapped up, it cut down a little bit, but it held most of the gains, and then it started to break above VWAP over here, and actually getting through that gap. So ELF is not a bad one. Looking at a couple of these here. A-Lab, 4, MSTR, VRTX. And let's see here. Credo getting through some of these levels. Let's see. Yeah, so get rejected once from the high of the day, grinding up a little bit higher. PSTG. We already talked about CLS, I believe. Actually, CLS is looking pretty nice. Pretty nice steady grind here. Gap up, tested, higher low. Good relative strength. Very steady price action on this gap up. And it's a decent chance of testing the high of the day. We do have about $1 over there. I'd rather get in, Yeah, let's see. I'm between CLS and I am between a couple other picks here. So MDB is my top short. Urban, not bad. Not bad. Yeah, UPST, it's got to break through this level. So we're testing that here. If it can find some support at this double bottom, kind of break through over here. UPST, I think, could be an excellent long. So yeah, all right, I'm going to go with CLS. I think that's going to be my pick for today. Some volume is coming in. So CLS as a long, if SPY can clear this high of the day, or MDB as a short if SPY cannot clear and starts to reject from that high of the day. So those are the two picks of the day. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Bit of a longer video, but just a lot of stuff to kind of talk about today, and describing the game plan, describing all the context. I think the context on this D1 is really important because it'll help determine and it'll kind of really drive what's happening intraday and tell you what you can expect. All right, that's it, and I will see everyone on Monday.